I'm David Lopez, one of the product managers here at Epson America, and I'm going to be going over the SureColor V7000. This is actually one of our now more popular printers. I feel like every single day we're getting questions about this. People are doing live or the actual one-on-one demos, which you can always go on our website and request a demo. Please talk to all of our partners that sell the printer. They have great information. They have demo machines. We can do samples. We can do one-on-one demos with myself, or we can produce some samples here as well. So just wanted to get that out there. All right, so like usual, I usually go through a presentation, kind of give you the why the SureColor V7000, how are we different from what's out there already, and then we'll go to a live demo. You can see it print. I've actually done a couple different things today where we can do some simultaneous printing, and I'll show you that in a minute, and we'll go from there. So again, if you guys have any questions, please go in the Q&A. Prefer the Q&A just so I don't have to be looking at the chat and the Q&A at the same time. So that way I can kind of answer your questions as soon as possible. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and grab my little remote here, and then I'm going to share my screen for the presentation. All right. Looks like I jumped ahead a little bit. Give me a sec. There it is. So today we're going to be talking about the SureColor V7000 4x8 UV flatbed. Again, this is a really popular machine just because of its quality and everything I'm going to be talking about in a sec. So the SureColor V7000, this is our entry-level 4x8 UV flatbed. Now, I always say this, it's the only thing really entry about this, it's its price. It's under that 100 grand mark, and that's really the only thing entry about it. You're going to see that the 10-color system, that it has black, cyan, magenta, yellow, gray, light cyan, light magenta, red, varnish, and white really separate us from what's out there already. Having all these colors and expanding that color gamut is what's really going to be key here for this printer. Now, as technology increases, everybody's want is, I want a better quality machine and faster speeds. And I really think that we've done that here with the SureColor V7000. We're able to do 9 boards per hour for everyday production, and that's with a reduction and no reduction or minimal reduction of speed. How we've actually done that is we have 8 dedicated print heads for the printing process. We have 2 dedicated to white, 4 dedicated to the colors, and 2 dedicated to varnish. What does that mean? That means that you can actually print white, color, and varnish all in one pass without having to slow down production. So that's going back to all the things that we've heard out in the field with competitive products is how can we get faster when printing multi-layers? Someone talked about printing glass. You're going to have to either print white to really get that color to pop. So having those 2 layers and being able to hit that quality and the color and not have to reduce that speed is what we've done here with the SureColor V7000. The SureColor V7000 will ship with our Epson Edge Print RIP software. Now, for those of you who already have a workflow or solution with maybe Onyx, Caldera, EFI Fiery, we work really well with those partners, and they already have drivers or are probably working on drivers, and we'll have them very soon. I had EFI in here the other day, confirming that they already have drivers. I know Wasatch is working on drivers. Onyx already has a live driver up and going, working with a lot of different customers already. So we do play really nice with all the RIP manufacturers, and they already have drivers or are working with drivers. Another thing that's going to be great for this printer is we're really changing the standards of UV printing. This can actually print up to 3 inches thick. And I like to just say 3 inches thick because we know that people are going to push it to the maximum. It actually can go up to 3.14 inches, meaning now that we can go to pre-manufactured materials and print directly onto them. We know that the industry is changing. Yes, the bulk of the printing is going to probably be on a 4x8 board, but now that you can have a higher thickness, you can actually print to pre-manufactured materials like trophies or jewelry boxes or whatever your imagination can actually come up with. So it's a great benefit there. And last but not least is our variable droplet technology. If you know Epson, we're known for our printhead technology. We're known for our quality. I call it Epson quality. if you look at our S-series printers, our R-series printers, our photo printers, we've been known to get really good quality with the inks that we've created. And it really goes down to the printhead technology. We're able to get small, medium, and large size dots as low as 3.5 picoliters to get those really nice smooth images. Whether you're printing a photographic images and want to get those nice smooth skin tones, or even a solid color, it actually helps reduce the amount of ink you're putting down, and it really gets a nice smooth solid color. Here's a little bit more into those printheads. Again, like I mentioned, we have 8 micro piezo printheads in here. And what we've done here is we've actually created a new waveform for this actual specific ink to get the best results possible. Like I mentioned, we have 4 color printheads, 2 dedicated to the white and 2 dedicated to the varnish. And all this is really for the speed and production of the prints. When it comes down to the actual printhead, accurate placement of those dots is really key. And that's what's going to really up the quality. Being able to predict and know exactly where those dots are going to land is going to give us a better quality when we're looking at something from up close or even far away. When we're talking about UV printers in the market, just in general, we're probably one of the only printers under 200 grand that will have a red ink from manufacturer on our printer. Now, this is huge because there are some third-party inks out there that can offer red and different things like that. But as we all know, once you start to introduce inks that were not perfectly formulated for those printheads, A, it can cause problems, and B, it can void some warranties. So we wanted to give you the extra colors, the extra gamut, all from us that we made the ink that is going to perform perfectly with our printheads. We're really changing the image expectations of what you can do with UV printing. And that's really a true statement. Really, when we first saw, we're not the first to market with a UV printer. When you first saw a 4x8 flatbed that was in that 100 grand or under 100 grand price range, you were just excited to get a printer of that caliber into your print shop and didn't really worry about quality. You just said, hey, I don't have to do the process of printing on vinyl and then adding it to a board. I'm eliminating that process. It's making my life easier. So now that some technology has gone out, again, we're not the first ones to the market, but when we came out with it, we wanted to make it right. So what we're doing, what I mean by changing the image expectations is now you're going to get that price tag that you're looking for, and you're going to get that Epson quality. Because of the color gamut, because of our printheads, we're really changing the expectations of UV printing. And of course, again, going back to our printheads, because that's one of the main things here, you're going to get that Epson quality. And you'll see it when we're doing our live demonstration as well. Here's a little bit about our printhead arrangement. You can see the back of the carriage is going to have the 2 dedicated white printheads. The middle is going to have the CMYK and the other colors, the red, gray, and light colors. And then the front is going to have the varnish. Now, this is all about high productivity. And the printer is actually smart enough that if you are printing, let's say, on a piece of wood, you know that you're going to have to print white, color, and varnish. Or let's say you want to print varnish on top. It's going to start from the front of the printer and go back. Now, if I'm printing now a reverse image, it's going to start from the back and go forward. And we can actually change that on the UV controller software, which I'll show you guys live during the live demonstration. And this is all really for high productivity. We want to make sure that you're getting the best productivity possible with the SureColor V7000. Let's talk a little bit about the speeds. I think the most important thing here is you're going to see the 2 different bars, the dark blue bar and the light blue bar. Now, it's important because when you're printing just color, of course, it's going to be slightly faster. But what's really impressive is the 3-layer printing. If I'm printing white, color, and varnish, you're going to notice that the speed is barely reducing down. Now, the reason, this is going back to listening to the field and listening to actual customers that have 4x8 flatbeds. With some of the competitive products, when you start to introduce white or a varnish, the speed reduces down by 50%. That gets you thinking at your print shop, is this something really I want to offer? Is this something that I really want to tackle on? My speed's going to be slow. It's going to tie up my printer. And now I can't put as many jobs on there. Now I have to charge maybe a lot more to really get the return on my investment for this. We wanted to eliminate that. We wanted to have this as an option no matter what. So because of the printheads, we're able to get nearly the same amount of speeds, a very small drop, and still get that production with 3-layer prints. Just to let you know, I am seeing some of the questions pop up. As soon as I'm done with my presentation, I'll get to those questions and answer them live. All right, so when it comes to the actual ink and when it comes to having white in a printer, if you've been around white or maybe even new to white, something in the chemistry just tends to actually separate in the white ink. It's really widely known, whether it's resin ink or whether it's solvent ink, whether it's direct to garment ink, the white tends to separate. So it's very important to really have a white recirculation system. And we've done a really good job with this here with our SureColor V7000. Now, the circulation system is actually running every 30 minutes and circulating this ink throughout the system. So it keeps everything nice and mixed, and you don't get any of that sedimentation. One of the nice jobs here at Epson that I work on is when I got this printer in as a beta printer, I got to really push it to its limits. I wanted to see if I don't turn this on for 2 weeks, a month, how is my white going to look? That's one of the key things that I hear from a lot of different people out there that have flatbed printers. Say, hey, I have to run my white every single day. If not, it'll get clogged. So during my testing, I noticed that because of that white recirculation turning on every 30 minutes, my white nozzles were almost perfect every single time, even with low maintenance. So that means that the white recirculation was really doing its job and preserving the printhead nozzles. And so that's the key thing to this, is that we want to make sure that we're able to print at a moment's notice and not have to worry about doing so much maintenance or doing different things to make sure that your nozzles are printing right. So great feature that we have on here for the SureColor V7000. Let's talk a little bit about the usability features that we have going on. We have a pin registration system. So this is for nice, quick, and easy alignments. For those of you who are printing 4x8 boards or even smaller boards, you're able to get to that 0 point fairly easy. You pick up, it's a manual process. I've actually done and timed how long it takes me to put up these pins. I can put every single pin up in about 10 seconds. So it's still very easy, even though it's a manual process. You get a flathead screwdriver, you turn it counterclockwise, it brings the pin up, and you're able to push that over to the 0 point. Another very important feature here is the multi-zone vacuum. Remember, I said we're changing the expectations of what UV printing can do. We changed it with the head height. We've changed it with the quality. So now having 4 zones is really important. This is the reason why. It's not always that you're going to be printing those 4x8 boards. Having 4 zones now, I can put smaller items on one of my zones, turn off my other zones, and dedicate the vacuum to just my zone 1 or 2 or wherever I want to focus on. Now I don't have to tape anything down, and it's going to hold it nice and good with the actual vacuum that we have on there. And I'll show you a little thing that I'm doing here on the live printing as well. It kind of shows off the abilities for this. And it really plays into the workflow process as well, which we'll talk about during my live demonstration as well. We do have an auto thickness sensor. So this is a nice, easy way to detect what's the actual measurement of your materials. Basically, what happens is you set a coordinate on the table, wherever your substrate's at. It'll go over to that coordinate. It'll drop a pin. It'll go down until it senses it. Then it'll know the thickness of the material and then automatically push the carriage 1.3 millimeters above the surface and get it ready for printing. So this can go all the way up to 3.14 inches thick. So again, for those prefabricated materials like a jewelry box or a lunch box or whatever odd thing you want to print to, you can do it here with the V7000 as long as it's under that 3.14 inches thick. Let's talk a little bit about the ink now. They do come in 1-liter ink bottles for our 10-color system. Now, all the price, doesn't matter if it's a white, varnish, or the colors, the price of all the bottles are all the same. There is no change. I know I've gotten a couple questions because our S-Series, the white ink is a different price in the different colors. Here for the Ultra Chrome UV ink, we got all the colors to be the same price. So it will be the same price. It's about 15 cents per milliliter. So the bottle is about $150 for the bottle, and that's MSRP prices. And for those of you who always ask, usually around this time, I've done this presentation a couple of times, what's the average square foot cost with ink? And the average square foot cost for color is about 15 cents per square foot. So it's about a milliliter per square foot. And when you introduce white, depending on the density, of course, and these are just ballpark numbers, you're looking at about 24 cents per square foot with white, and that's with 100% density. Let's talk a little bit about the Epson EdgePrint RIP software that comes included with the printer. Now, for those of you who are maybe this is a new printer for your shop, this is very easy to use RIP software that is still powerful and gets you great quality images. Just to be fair, every printer that's been sold has been used with the Epson EdgePrint RIP software. All the samples I've done has been done with the Epson EdgePrint software. And we've had some really tough customers that are really important with color and things like that. And the RIP software has done its job and performed like we expected to. So don't discount it right away. If it's something that you're willing to use, it comes free with the printer and it might be a better option. But if you're used to your workflow with Onyx or Caldera or EFI or Wasatch, definitely that's an option as well. So about the EdgePrint, it still has, easy tiling, spot color matching, custom color library support. It has the whole Pantone library actually embedded to it already. So you can get right to trying to get Pantone colors and certain things like that. Epson Edge Dashboard. If you're familiar with Epson products, this is a great way to get different profiles. You can do firmware updates. You can do some small minor remote monitoring. We've actually gone a new route with that, which I'll talk to you about in a sec as well. But it's a nice little feature that you can have. And this is the new route that I was talking about. This is a very important part, and I really like to talk about this. This is our Epson Cloud Solution port. For those of you who want to get more information about this, you can always go to epson.com/Epson Cloud Solution port, and you can get some great information on this product. This is actually totally free to register to. If you already have an existing Epson wide format printer, like an S series or an R series or a different, maybe a F series, you can actually log on and register already. Again, it's free to use. It's going to give you real-time status updates. It's a nice dashboard that's going to give you a plethora of different information. But really what's key here is this is our new strategic way to get you fast service by being able to remote into the printer. Of course, with your permission, we can actually, let's say something happens. We know things happen. I've been on the print side where accidents do happen, and I need some help. I need some support. With your permission, we can log into the printer. We can say, okay, this is the error codes that are coming in. Now, if it's something that's easy enough where I can walk, or our customer support team can walk the customer through it, they can walk you straight through it and help you get going with your production. If it's something that maybe needs a part, or it's something that's that actually needs a technician to go into place, now our technicians have a game plan. They have the parts they need, or everything they really need to get everything up and going as fast as possible. This is one of our newest machines, one of the biggest machines in our signage side, and we want to make sure that support is #1 when we're talking about the SureColor V7000. So this is a great way to really understand how your printer's doing, how to get service as fast as possible, and we've done some great things with our mobile monitoring. If I get an error, if my ink is low, I have it set so that my smartwatch gives me a notification to go check it out. So it's really, we know it's on the go. For production managers, for owners, you can really get a nice overview of what's going on with your printer. And this is my last slide here. Why Epson? Why the SureColor V7000? If you take away anything from this presentation, I want you to take away these last 3 key items. What are we doing here with the SureColor V7000? High quality. We have a 10-color ink set that is incredible for image quality, for expanded gamuts, and we're not going to lose the speed. And that kind of goes into my productivity. Even with all these colors, with the white, the varnish, the red, the grays, the light colors, we're able to get fast speeds because of our printhead layout. We have the 2 dedicated to white, 2 dedicated to varnish, and 4 printheads dedicated to the actual colors. And all that is bundled in with an entry-level price. Again, the only thing entry-level for this whole product is the price under 100K. And again, right at this moment, I get some questions. Does that mean $99,999? And no, that's not the case. It's about $79,995 MSRP. Please talk to our partners. They can get you exact pricing, but MSRP is $79,995. So just under that 80K mark, which really sets us at a perfect price to get this into your shop if you're expanding or if you're adding new printers and want to really change up the versatility of what you can do in your print shop. And with that being said, that's the end of my presentation. I'm going to go ahead and go to some of the questions. Let's go to the Q&A, please. All right, got a lot of questions. I like it. All right, someone from Mississippi would like a demo. Where can you find the closest place? I highly recommend to go to epson.com/UV UV flatbed. Sorry about that. And you can get to our landing page, or just go on the Epson website and type in SureColor V7000. And once you get to our landing page, there's a section on there for request a demo, and you can get a hold of our partners, or you can get a hold of myself, where we can do a virtual demo. There's a lot of capabilities here. We have great state-of-the-art camera equipment that you're seeing kind of right now, where you'll see the demo, and we can go through certain things, grab your files, your material if you send them in, and we can print right in front of the camera live. All right. Does Epson make its own ink? If not, who inks is used? Great question. And this kind of goes back to getting the best out of this printer. Yes, we make our own ink. And for those of you who know about the SurePress printer, which is it's our big, $250,000 printer, we've used UV ink for some time now in that printer. So what we did was we grabbed that formulation, we made it optimal for the UV flatbed printing side, and we brought it into SureColor V7000. Short answer to that is yes, we manufacture all of our ink, and it's to really get that quality control and make sure that the heads are preserved, the colors are the right spec, and we're getting everything to our standards. How much is the ink? Going back to that, ink is at 15 cents per milliliter, so one bottle is about $150 MSRP. All right, next question is, what is the warranty and what is covered? We do have, the printer itself comes with a 90-day warranty right off the bat. We highly recommend, and we pretty much bake it in when you talk to your reps. I don't like to quote prices or anything like that, but it gets baked in, and we have an extended cover warranty that gets put into this. A couple print heads are covered. All the maintenance, we actually send out a technician at the 6-month mark to just go in and check it out, make sure everything's running properly, and change out anything that might need to be changed out. So talk to your local reseller, talk to one of our Epson partners about what's in the warranty, and they can explain to you everything that's in there. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and it's really good for the printer. Is there a roll-to-roll option? No, there's not a roll-to-roll option. This is a true flatbed printer. I've been in the industry for some time now, and I've seen those printers, those hybrid printers that are roll-to-roll and flatbed, and you can ask around, they're not the greatest. It's either they do well on one part and not well on the other part, and we wanted to just get away from all that. We wanted to have a dedicated printer to flatbed printing. We have really a nice lineup of solvent printers, resin printers that can really pair up with this. So it's something that you can get. Next question. Do the heads have dampers, and what's the life of the print head? So this is always a trick question that I always get. The print head is meant to last many, many years. It's a heat-free technology, so it's not heating up and burning out. It's not a consumable at all. We do a lot of different things that I'm going to talk to you and show you live to help preserve the print heads and make sure that they don't get damaged in any way. Best case scenario, and this is what I would want, and this is what we've been seeing so far in my printer here, is we want those print heads to last the life of the printer. So if you do the maintenance correctly, if you do everything correctly, they should last many, many years. And let's go down a little bit. I'm sorry. And does the head have dampers? Yes, it does have a damper system. And on the live portion, I'll show you a little bit more into it. Great question so far. I'm a nerd when it comes to the technical part. So keep asking the technical questions, and hopefully I'll get all those answered as best as possible. All right, and then last question before I jump onto the live demo. Are the lamps LED? Yes, they are LED. Great for heat-sensitive materials, great for long-lasting life. It's not something that, it's not a consumable. It's not something that you're gonna wanna be changing. They should last the life of the printer. So yes, they are LED lights. And we'll go into it on the live portion of this. All right, so before I start going to the live portion of it, I wanted to show you a couple different things that you can see behind me. This is our wall of different things that we've printed, and it really shows off the quality of what this can do. A big portion of this is going to be acrylic. These signs are very expensive, great margins, and people love to print them. Now, one of the things that you can know about is go to any of the other print manufacturers and look at a piece of acrylic that they printed, a photographic image. It's rare that they show them often because it shows every single dot. Now, I'm going to go up a little bit closer, and hopefully you can see it's a little tough, but what I'm looking at here is the skin tone. I'm looking at the gradations, and I'm looking at to see if I have any kind of graininess going on. This is a really smooth image for being placed on a piece of acrylic. So this is very important in the actual printing world, and this is a nice feature that we're able to do. Another impressive thing that we've done is this. What's this showing off? This is showing off the opacity of the white. It's showing off that we can able to do multi-layers. And now you're looking at the different shades of red. This is a great image to show off the different red. And if you can see this, it's done white color, and then you can see the glare of the varnish. Now we've added an extra effect, and keep in mind, we didn't slow down the process. If you're already printing white, it's not going to slow down the process. We've done 3 layers, in that faster mode, and quality, varnish, white, color. It's really amazing what this can do. Let's speak a little bit about the height thickness and how this plays a part. For instance, this trophy. This is an acrylic trophy. I did a reverse print here. Now, you can see the thickness of this is a little bit thicker. I can place these on there, and now I'm being very versatile with my printer. I can print trophies, I can print signs, I can print on a lot of different things. There's a huge, huge amount of different things that you can print on. I could probably count on my hand a couple of things that you really can't print on, but for the most part, metals, glass, acrylics, plastics, wood, you can all print to those. So this shows off that. Another cool thing that we've done, this is a aluminum lunchbox, nothing special. This is not meant for printing. No primer was used. This was literally, I went on Amazon, I picked up a metal lunchbox and I printed right on it. You can see the thickness there. Able to print a photographic image with no issues at all. Of course, wood. I have some wooden coasters behind me. And then last but not least, here's a piece of metal that we've done. Again, this was nothing meant for printing. This is just a random metal sign that we bought. I printed right on it. Durability is good. I'm able to scratch onto this, and I get photographic images right on metal. So this is great for that. All right. So now I showed off a couple of my different samples that we've done. Now let's go talk and let's go look at the printer and walk right in front of it and see what we got going on. All right, so for those of you who have more questions, I see them popping up. I'm now away from that screen, so I can't see if there's any new questions coming up. I'll walk back after and answer those questions as best as possible. So for the meantime, we're going to go over the hardware. We're going to go over some of the different features. We'll send a print. We'll do a couple cool things, and I think that are going to interest you. All right, so first and foremost, we have the SureColor V7000 right behind me. This is actually #1 out of all the printers, so this was exciting to get. This here in the front, you're going to notice right away is each color, and there's a little light to it. So when you start to actually run low on ink, this actually lights up. You can continue printing. It's just a reminder saying, hey, put some ink in the ink tanks. And I'll show you where that's at in a minute. Now, on here as well, you have the vacuum button. This is what's going to turn on the vacuum. To the right over here, we have, I call it the soft power on and soft power off. Now, the reason for that is if it's Monday or Tuesday and I'm coming in the next day, there's no need for me to actually turn off the main power. The reason for that is if I turn off the main power, a couple of the different functions actually just turn off completely, like that white recirculation. Remember, I want to have that white recirculation moving around so I don't have any clogged nozzles in my white. So typically, if I want to just power it off for the night, I'll do a soft power off, go home, come back, turn it on, and we're good to go. Now, if I'm going on vacation, I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks, I'm going to be gone for a month, then I'll do a hard power off. Now, one thing is to keep in mind is how this system actually works. Now, the ink gets pushed up from the back, from the containers, through our whole system to what we call a sub-tank, a little mini tank on top, which I'll show you in a sec, that will hold the ink and then go down to the print heads and the print heads down to your print. Now, what holds that ink up so the ink just doesn't come down because of gravity is negative pressure. So let's walk over to the carriage and take a look at that. Now, here is the actual carriage. Now, you're going to see a couple different indicators here that are showing the negative pressure values. Now, the reason why we have two is that because the viscosity of the white ink is a little bit thicker, we need a little bit more negative pressure to hold that up and get us the right amount of ink down when we need it. So we'll have two different negative pressure valves here. Now, let's open up the hood and see those sub-tanks I was talking about. So now they're clearly labeled here. Now, the sub-tanks are right here. The ink goes there. Negative pressure holds it up. When it needs ink, it gets down to the damper to the head, and down. That's the most technical talk for the day, I promise. Now, again, going back to that, I'm gone for a month. I'm going to turn off the main power. What do I do so I don't lose this ink here? What we've done is we've introduced these valves that you can shut off, go on your vacation. When you're back from your vacation, you turn them back on. Well, you turn the power on, turn the valves back on, negative pressure is working, white recirculation is working again, and now we can go ahead and do a purge, get everything flowing back again, and back to production fairly easy. I say it takes about 5 minutes of that to do it. You do a purge, you clean the print heads, you do a test or a nozzle check, and you're back to printing. So fairly easy to use. Since we're here right at the carriage spot, I'll talk to you a little bit about a couple of things we've done to actually protect the head as much as possible. First and foremost is we have a jam sensor here. There's a jam sensor on this side and this side because the print carriage goes in a horizontal fashion in a bidirectional way. So we want to make sure that the heads are always protected. If you forgot to change the head height, it will detect it here and stop it right away from hitting the actual print heads. Now, let's say it's barely missed it, or maybe something bowed in between the print. What have we done to actually protect the print heads? Again, make sure that this is always as safe as possible. The print heads are actually slightly recessed. So if something does happen to miss this sensor, which is very rare, it'll hit that base plate rather than the actual print heads. We want to preserve the print heads as much as possible. So that's what we've done there. Again, while we're here at the carriage, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in this portion of it. There's square and this square. In here are the LED lights. We had someone ask about the LED lights. There's one longer one and a smaller one here that are slightly shifted. And this is all for optimal printing. And then also right next to it is our ionizer. So for those of you who don't know what an ionizer is it's basically, it kills static. Now, when it comes to printing on plastics, on acrylics, static is not your friend. What I mean by that is, think about, let's go back to the old days where you got a balloon, you rubbed it on your head, you pulled it away, and that static pulled your hair a different way. Now, that can actually happen with the dots. If there's major static, that dot, instead of getting placed perfectly where we want it, now it's getting pulled off to the right or to the left. What is that going to do? It's going to cause a blurry image. It's going to cause just the quality not to be there that we're expecting from an Epson printer. So the ionizers on both sides are helping reduce that static or kill that static to get that dot placement perfect every time. And that goes with the quality. So that's something that we've done here as well. Since we're over here, again, we're going to go over to another feature, which is our 4-zone vacuum, which is awesome and very important. Let's go to that now. All right, so the actual zones, and you can kind of see here, it's split right down the middle. So think of like a cross right down 4 different quadrants right down the middle. It's as easy as actually turning off just this lever. So this is open and this is closed. It's clearly labeled, and you can do this at any time of the print, whether the vacuum's on or the vacuum's off. I can come over here and turn on and off different zones. Why is this important? Again, we're not always printing to 4x8 sheets. It can be smaller things, which I'm actually going to show you during the printing process of why this is important. I have my back right on and my front left on. Front left is always my 00, and I'm going to show you a little bit about a workflow that I've seen done in different print shops. So very cool feature, and we'll do it live. Since we're back over here, I want to talk to you a little bit about where the ink goes and what the ink bottles look like. So here, this is a light magenta bottle. This is what the bottle looks like. This is a 1 liter bottle. Now, the container actually holds more than 1 liter. It holds about a couple liters, a little bit over a couple liters actually. So you can fill this up with a couple bottles and keep the production going. Now, you can actually open this up at any time and pour in more ink when needed. So it's very simple. You just untwist the actual cap, you pull it out. I always recommend to do 1 color at a time and then pour it in, and then you're good to go. So that's the simple part of that. All right, so let's get over to the printing process. Now, one thing I wanted to show everybody, something that I think I've never done in an actual virtual webinar or a product overview, is I wanted to really show off the capability of the 4-zone vacuum, which I think is very important. A lot of the competitors out there, or another competitor only have 2 vacuum zones, which not always is the best fit. Again, for at the time when you're just printing a 4x8 sheet, great. But we wanted to dedicate as much vacuum as you can to a certain zone. So as you see behind me, I have a board right at my 00 point, which is always bottom left-hand corner. And I have a board on the opposite side. I have 2 different images. What I want to do, or what I want to show you how workflow can actually be, is maybe you have everything set up or a bunch of different sized panels. While this is done and it goes over to the back, I can go forward, turn off my zone 1, take this out, get a new piece ready, and get that workflow going. So now I have a circular motion of taking the old piece out, putting the new one in, and now I have a great workflow. Production is key when it comes to the V7000. One of the things I always say is if your printer's not printing, you're not making money. So you want to keep this going as much as possible, and you want to put different jobs at the same time. Now, the only stipulation of that is you have to make sure that they're the same thickness. So if I'm printing corrugated plastic boards all day, the yard signs and stuff like that, I can switch this around, put different images, and it's going to be nice and easy. All right, let's go over to the print process. I'm going to go over to the computer that's here. Now, on the actual printer, there's a station here to add a computer. Now, the computer is going to actually run what we call the UV controller. Now, the UV controller, I like to explain this kind of like a control panel, if you will. If you notice, there was no control panel on the actual printer. This is going to control my head Z position, which is the thickness. This is going to control where I want to start my 00. This is going to control which direction I want to start printing, from the back going forward, from the forward going backwards. So a couple different things you can do here. Now, also what I have on here is our Epson Edge Print Rip software. Very easy to use. I can hit add. It's going to pull up where I want to bring in some images. I can load them up right here very simply and start to do a couple different things. If I want to nest, I can highlight a couple different images, hit the nest button, and now it's one job. So now I can actually place this anywhere I want on the bed and get this going. As you can see on this dotted line here, you can see that that is the size of the bed, so you can start to get an actual feel for where it's going to be landing at. Now, on the actual bed itself is an engraved ruler, so you can verify where the placement of everything's at. All right, so I actually had something already pre-ripped and printed, or not actually printed, but it was pre-ripped. And then once I sent over my print, it stacks up in my UV controller, as you can see here. Now, this is great because you're going to have multiple jobs going on, maybe multiple beds. You can start to pre-rip everything and get your task list built up. So all you have to do is hit print. Once I hit the print function, it really goes straight to printing. First thing I'm going to do before I start any printing is I always check my head's position. So what I want to do is I'm going to go back to my printer. I'm going to turn on my vacuum and press that button right in the front. Let the vacuum turn on. And then I want to just take a visual inspection, make sure I don't see any high spots of my material. So now I have everything kind of up. I'm taking a look at my material. Again, I've been in the printing industry. I've been on a print shop side. I always want to look and make sure that my edges are kind of bent down a little bit. I don't want anything peeking up. I look at all my edges. Everything's doing great. Everything looks nice. My vacuum is doing its job. It's holding down my material nice and tight. And remember, I've dedicated the zones to this zone and this zone over here. So now I'm not wasting any kind of maximum suction on the other zones that I'm not using. So this is a great feature that we're kind of showing off here. Going back to the RIP software. I have everything set. I'm going to hit my head Z position, go to my settings. Now remember, there's an engraved ruler, so I tell it exactly where I want, the highest point of my material. Since this material is a nice flat board, I pretty much put it anywhere I want. I'm going to hit the execute button. And then now you're going to see the actual printer is going to go over to the desired location and start measuring the thickness of the board. All right, let me see. While that's doing that, I'm going to try to see the questions. I got, can I do CMYK times 3 if we don't want white and varnish? No, the actual printer is set with the ink set. It's going to do white, the colors, and varnish. There is no option for doing the dual CMYK or 3 times CMYK. Can it do ADA type dimensional printing? That's something that it's a very sensitive topic because you have to be FDA approved in order to say ADA dimensional printing. And that's something that we don't have right now. I have to still test it and make sure that we have the right dimensionals on that. So as of right now, I will say no, but it's something that we are looking at and it's something that I'm very aware of. Next question I got was how close to full bleed? We can do a full bleed. Even if you print on the bed, it's totally fine. The actual bed is coated with a material so that the ink doesn't stick to it and you can scrape it right off fairly easily. All right. I'm going to take a break on questions for a second and go back to the operation. All right, so my measurement is complete. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to tell me that the media thickness for this is 4.11 millimeters thick. And I'm going to hit my OK. It's going to save those parameters, and now it knows the thickness of my material. Success to save parameters, hit OK. So now I'm effectively ready to start printing. Now, I'm going to check here that I'm doing my what's called backwards printing, which means start from the front going backwards because I'm printing white, color, and varnish. And that's on the right way. I'm doing a bidirectional print, which is great. I'm running a 720 by 720 production speed. So this is right in the middle speed in production. All right, and then it's as easy as hitting the print button. I'm going to go ahead and hit start printing, and we're ready to start printing. It's going over to its location to start printing. And we're good. So there's a couple different features that we have that I like to talk about, and I sometimes shock some people while doing this live. we have a couple different safety features that we've done. And one of the things is when we're actually, most common thing, when you're seeing a print going on, first thing everybody wants to do is stick their head inside here to look at the print. Since this is going at a high rate of speed, it's not going to stop. If it hits you, it's going to be a painful day for you. So what we've done is there's actually an invisible laser that's going on from one edge to the other edge to prevent any kind of damage to you or the printer. So one of the nice things is, let's say me, for instance, I'm pretty animated when I'm talking and moving my hands a lot, and I hit that sensor. It completely stops. Now, one of the things that's important to this is sometimes you're not always printing to maybe a less expensive piece of corrugated plastic. Maybe you're printing to glass. Maybe you're printing to acrylic, a 4x8 sheet. That can get very expensive. And it was an accident. A lot of the competitive machines out there, once you hit that sensor, your job is done. We said, no, we want to fix that. We want to make sure that, let's check it out. Let's see if it was an actual, crash, or was it just a mistake? It was me talking with my hands. I hit a sensor, sorry. So we have a couple different options we can do. We can do the head Z position goes all the way up. It gives me a chance to look, say, hey, did my image move? Did something happen? Was it a mistake? And then, no, it wasn't a mistake. Now I can hit resume printing. It's as easy as going to my software, hit resume printing. I know I did this purposely. Keep on going without any noticeable difference at all of where it stopped and where it began. So let's go ahead and go to my software really quick. I'm going to hit restore my servo motor. I'm going to hit resume printing. And now I'm back to printing without any complications. So great feature to have on here. Now, this is going to continue printing for a little bit. And I'm going to do another shocker that I always do is let's talk a little bit about the durability of the ink. Now, when it comes to durability of the ink, what does that mean? What does that mean? It means, of course, it's hanging onto your material. People automatically think, how long is it going to last outside? It's UV printing, so it's going to last, a good amount of time. Also, what people don't realize is most of these boards, if it is a 4x8 board, you're going to cut into them. This is a piece of corrugated plastic. And I'm going to go ahead and get the camera over to me over here for a sec. All right, perfect. So corrugated plastic, printed this. This is nothing special. We can take the one right off the print and do the same exact thing. But when it comes to cutting in and durability and adhesion to the materials, cutting into it is very important. If I get knife material, one of the tests that I always look for is when I cut something over, is it flaking? Is it gonna flake? And this shows me that I'm not flaking. It's not messing up my image. It's not doing anything. Another important thing, you sell this over to your customers, and by the time it gets from your print shop to the car, what's going to happen? What can happen? This can happen, a bend. Now, a good adhesion ink is not going to crack, not going to break. This ink can actually, it can stretch up to 265% with color only. And when you add white, it does go down a little bit over about to 180%, I believe it is, but still great flexibility. What we did when we were designing this printer is we're thinking about the perfect ink that's going to fit on a lot of different things. Versatility is key when printing. Let's go ahead and go back to the printing part of this. Now, versatility is key. So we wanted to be able to print on corrugated plastic, metal, maybe even a vinyl, whatever you're doing, we wanted to have that and not worry about certain things. So having a flexible ink, something that I just bent right in front of you, we can take that right off hot the press, bend it itself as well, and show you that it's going to hold up perfectly fine. So the ink itself, the chemistry of the ink that we make in-house is very important, and it's something that we've put a lot of time and effort into it. So this is showing you key things when it comes to actual workflow. Now my first board is done. It's starting on the second board. I'm going to wait till it's a little bit past going over the second board. While that's happening, I'm going to walk over to my zone. I'm going to turn off my zone 1 once it gets past it, so I don't want it to lift up for any reason. And then I'm able to take that board out, put a new board in, and continue that workflow. Keep adding prints, keep this printer going, which is very important when it comes to printing. Again, I've been in the print shops. I've worked at a print shop. I started in this industry working at a print shop, and I know how production and workflow is very important. All right, so now that it looks like I'm pretty much in the clear without intending anything, I'm going to go to my first vacuum zone. I'm going to turn that off. Now I'm taking off my board. Now I can replace it, or I can put it backwards on here because I want to print the other side. I have it aligned because of my pins. Turn my vacuum zone lever back on. And now if I want to, I'm ready to print right on zone 1 again. That's the really true key part of productivity and of workflow when it comes to the SureColor V7000. You have those options to actually do this type of stuff. All right, while that's printing, let me go ahead and try to get over to some of the questions. You can go ahead and leave it on the printer so they can see the print. This print is actually unique and nice because it's doing the spot varnish on there as well. All right, so is a lease option available? That's something that you want to talk to one of our local partners that sells the SureColor V7000 and see if they have any kind of leasing options or anything like that. Are adhesion promoters needed for certain substrates? Great question. And the answer to that is yeah, some adhesion promoters can be needed for certain substrates. It really depends. I've always recommended just do a quick test and see how that adhesion is. Make sure it's meeting your standards and then go from there. Again, if you guys have maybe a doubt, you're looking about purchasing a V7000, you have some doubt that maybe the application that you're printing on may or may not work, you always have the option to work with our local resellers. They have demo units. They can do samples for you. If they don't have a demo unit or are not able to do that sample for you, send your material to me. We have a team here, our media development team, a great group of guys that really know their stuff, that help with printing some of these samples. We'll show you the process and make sure that your substrate works. All right, what RIP would need to be used to achieve variable data printing? There are certain RIPs out there that do support variable data printing. I believe Onyx does support variable data printing with Thrive. So I would do some of the research on the actual RIP manufacturers. Again, I do know that Onyx is a great partner of ours. They do have a driver for this. I know EFI Fiery has a driver for this. I know Wasatch is working on a driver for this. So whatever you're used to, do some research on that, talk to them, and they'll explain to you if they can do variable data printing. The max material thickness on that, it's actually 3.14 inches thick. All right, I got a question about list price of extended warranties and how many years are extended warranties. So this is the extended warranties are stackable up to 5 years. So that's a great option to be able to be covered for 5 years. And the actual price of it, I would recommend you talk to your local Epson reseller or one of our partners that can give you that information on pricing. All right, and then I believe I answered the double door question. Can I print only CMYK? So the printer is smart enough to print, when you're only printing color, it's going to print basically it's going to print a combination of the different colors to get the best quality. If you're asking if that's just an option to just do CMYK, that's it. No, it's set up to print with all the different colors that we have configured in here. All right, so really quick, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my vacuum just so you can see I am not doing any kind of magic tricks here. We just printed this right now. Again, grabbing a knife, slicing right into it. I'm checking durability. I'm checking adhesion. I'm making sure that if I do have a 4x8 sheet and I can cut into this, I'm not gonna have any issues. So again, this one usually shocks people because normally people don't cut into their things because there is that chance of it flaking. I've done this 100 times. I've done extensive testing. Our engineers in Japan have done extensive testing with this, and we've done a really great job with our ink, our printer, and we're very excited to be able to have this, offer it, and bring this part of our Epson family line for our signage printers. All right, so with that being said, that's pretty much the end of my demo. I hope I explained everything. I answered a lot of the questions. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free. Again, talk to our partners, go on our website, ask the questions, ask for samples. We're here to really show off the printer. We're very confident that you will be excited and just astounded with the quality you're able to get, the bright colors that you can get with the reds, and the different effects you can get with varnish. We're very excited to be doing this here today. So I am David Lopez, one of the product managers here at Epson America and the signage team. And thank you so much for joining, spending the hour with me.